What's happening, Instagram? Brian Silva for BEAPJ, back for another live Q&A a little bit later. I'm also going to have a special guest, good friend of mine. I had him on before. I wasn't able to actually save any of the things that he said, way back when. If you've been following me that long, it's only been like 4 months, but so I had him on before. He's awesome dude, and we'll talk about him here in a second, bring him on, and you guys will get to hear his thoughts on all the stuff that's going on, pararescue related, because that's what you're here for, pararescue. So if you guys are new to my channel, I've been taking a little bit of a break. School has been finishing up, and I'm also going to be having some surgery soon. There's a lot of stuff going on, so no excuse or anything like that. I'll try to put out the content. You guys let me know what you want to hear, and I'll keep on putting it out there. But like I said, my name is Brian Silva if you're new to the channel, and the reason that I'm here is to help you guys get through INDOC, get on to wear your berets, go down range, save lives. Even if you're not going for PJ, I'll answer whatever questions you have. I'm here to help everybody so that they can reach their goals and motivate you guys as much as possible to achieve your goals of soft selection. So if you guys haven't checked it out, I have a website, BEAPJ.com, my YouTube channel. Obviously, you're on Instagram right now, Facebook. Also, you can have me on Snapchat. Check out my saved stories. Yeah, just wherever you want information, I got it over there. So check those things out. And then I also have workout programs. A lot of you guys know if you're doing the program, go ahead and shout out. Gotten a lot of good feedback, and the program's still young, so we have guys that have made it through ETD so far, and that's the furthest that we got, only because that's the guy that did all the workouts and made it so far. No one has been kicked out so far. I think I made these so that they're tailor-made for exactly INDOC, and obviously I'll be changing everything as soon as whatever comes out, just to make sure that you guys have the best program possible. And I've been talking to the commander, the squadron chiefs, and the commandant. Obviously, you guys saw that interview. So I'm doing everything I can to make sure that you guys are getting the best info, the top info. I literally went down there and had a meeting with the commander just to make sure that everything is on par and everything is as up to date as possible. So, and I'm not going to give you guys anything that is like BS or rumors that I heard or any of that kind of stuff. Straight from the chief, straight from the commander, and obviously today, straight from the operations superintendent at the Pararescue Apprentice course. So, also in a little bit here, we're going to be doing a code for you guys all if you're interested in the programs. I'll put that out just before I introduce Aaron. And the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys was just that I'm doing my surgery next week, so I'll be kind of out of pocket. I'm not going to be doing any videos for a little bit. I'm trying to stack it all before I end up going to surgery. If you guys didn't know, I have Graves' disease right now, so they're getting my my thyroid pulled out. So, it is what it is. But I probably won't be able to talk for a little bit. So I'll be back whenever everything's up to speed. But until then, you guys keep on messaging me. Obviously, I'll still be able to type. Maybe I'll be on some pain meds, but it'll probably make it a little bit more fun. So, yeah. Other than that, I am on a break from school, so I'm gonna keep on going with the posts at the very least on Instagram and updates to the website, stuff that I can do while I'm laying in a bed. So, so the code for tonight is gonna be 10% off on any of the programs, the 2 programs that I have, and the code is Burn the Boats 18, all caps, no spaces, Burn the Boats 18. So you can use that code for the next 24 hours for 10% off whichever workout, Past the Past or the INDOC grad, whichever one you want. Yeah, enjoy it. Let me know if you have any questions. It's an awesome app, and I appreciate you guys being here. So let's see, Aaron. So like I said, I've known Aaron for quite a while now, I don't know, 10 years or something like that. maybe a little bit over 10 years. Anyways, we were stationed in England together. We were stationed in Nellis together. He was in a different AATC unit, but he used to come down when I was an instructor at Indoc. He's worked on phase 2 selection. He's worked on a lot of high-level stuff, getting promoted quickly. Definitely, probably going to be a chief one day. I don't know. We'll see what he has to say about that. But I think he's probably going to be a chief one day. So, take his words and use them, because he's here to help you guys just like I am. He didn't have an Instagram until he started with you with this to help you guys out. So I really appreciate him coming on here, taking the time, because obviously as an operations superintendent, he's really busy doing all that high level stuff with Manning, and he was probably at work until 8 o'clock tonight or whatever. So doing a lot of stuff, taking time out for you guys. So let me go ahead and bring him on real quick. All right, sent it out. I'm sure he'll come up here really quick, and we're just going to talk about a lot of stuff that's going on, including the ANS stuff, including, hey, there he is.
All right. So, anyways, Aaron, thanks for coming on. Go ahead and introduce yourself, what your position is, what you do currently, and then kind of where you've been or whatever you want to share with people.
Yeah.
Just give them a foundation of who you are.
Yeah, so Aaron Love, I'm a Master Sergeant. Currently, I'm the Operations Superintendent at the 351st Battlefield Airman Training Squadron. So INDOC is all the way at the front of the pipeline, and then I run all the operations all the way at the back of the pipeline. So inside of the Apprentice course, that's the last school that you go to before you get your beret. When you graduate our organization, you get your beret and you go to your teams and you start your life as an active duty PJ. So I've been there about 3 years. I've been the flight chief. I've been the director of training. I've been the chief of Stanival, and now I'm working my last little gig here as the ops soup, and I'll end up leaving here in the spring after we get done. So operationally, like Brian said, and we've been together since Brian was there in England about 6 months before I did. So we cut our teeth together and kind of grew up. Had a couple deployments in there. Been to Iraq a couple times, Afghanistan a couple times, Africa one time. So seen some different stuff. Seen the direct support side of the job and seen the CASVAC side of the job. So that's pretty good. And that's kind of it for me. Really, my job day to day is making sure that we are putting out the 100% most prepared combat rescue officers and pararescuemen that we possibly can, and that we're giving the career field the best possible product. Sometimes people get a little bit weird about us saying that it's a product, but man, I produce pararescuemen, I produce combat rescue officers. My day-to-day job. Pretty proud of that. So it's been a great assignment. I have nothing bad to say about it, and the career field is going through awesome changes from start to finish. I know you wanted to talk about ANS a little bit. You want to kind of broach that subject, or how do you want to go?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely want to talk about ANS, but I think I like what you're talking about. Like, we're not, like, we see a product, like, as PJs and as people that are working on the project, like, we day in and day out try and refine every single thing, because there is a process that goes on. It's not just like, well, we'll just throw this at them and see how they react or anything like that. We're busy writing lesson plans constantly. We're trying to actually make as close to an assembly line as we possibly can. Obviously, we have to fine tune to some different characteristics of a different person and stuff like that, but we need to actually have some kind of plan in place. We're not just willy-nilly just making up training. So we, at the end state, have a guy that has the training that is, line item after line item, go down. This is what they're supposed to know. This is what they are responsible for knowing whenever they show up to the unit, and that's it. You hold them accountable. Yeah. So, and yeah, I like what you're saying there.
Yeah, those soft truths, I'm never going to take quantity over quality, but the fact remains right now that we occupy what's called a high demand, low density career field. We are one of the most in-demand special operations forces in the DoD. We're actually the smallest special operations force inside of the DoD. We have to find a way to make ourselves healthy and get through there. And although there is a lot of art that goes into a pararescueman, there's way more science. There's way more of that trial and error of what works, what doesn't. Are we backed up by data? Are we approaching this in a methodical fashion? If you go back 15 or 20 years, if you're talking about INDOC or ANS or even really the teams, you can't just punch someone in the mouth for 10 weeks and then just wait for the smoke to clear and be like, oh, that's the best guy. We had to get smarter. We had to get better. We had to evolve as a career field and the way that we actually make a pararescue and a combat rescue officer. Because to be quite honest with you, it's not good enough just to be strong anymore. It's not good enough just to be fast anymore. You have to have high character. You have to be mentally prepared. You have to be an adult learner, as nerdy as that sounds. Like, you have to know how to take in huge amounts of information, because around the world right now, somewhere, the music is stopping and a special operations team sergeant is looking at a young pararescueman, 24 years old, senior airman on target, and they're going, help, you need to fix this problem for me. And that's how we have to get our guys ready to go from the second that they leave, you know, even the second that they step into INDOC. That's largely what all of us are doing, are trying to turn you into that guy that's ready to answer that call. So
Absolutely. That's a good segue right there. Just what you said about changing the career field and everything that we're doing with ANS. When I say we, I mean you guys and the people down there that, you know, formerly known as INDOC or whatever.
It's always going to be INDOC. It'll always be INDOC.
The building is going to be called the INDOC in my mind anytime that I go there or refer to people being there. Definitely. But obviously, of course, lesson plans are going to change. So I already put out on previous videos that it's going to be a 4-week course. It's going to be sometime in January. It's going to start out with PJs. CCT merges in a little bit later. It's going to be more of a selection rather than a INDOC. So by selection, I mean it's going to be something that people are going to be observing you, and they're not going to be directly like in your face yelling at you. They're just going to be, here's a task, perform it, and we'll see how you end up on the other side. So a couple of other things. I want to actually just, you know, get your opinion about where you think this is headed, and then, you know, how you feel about it. Obviously, you know, we went through INDOC, so it's kind of like, you know, hits a little bit here, but
yeah,
we got to accept the truth and just what's going to end up happening and adapt to, you know, greater challenges in the future. So that's what we're here for, and I think, you know, they're probably trying to go in the right direction. But let's hear what you have to say and kind of what your take is on this.
Yeah, I'm going to toe the company line, man. Like, I've been working for the Battlefield Airman Training Group before it was a group. We might have changes in nomenclature. We might have changes in the way we go about business. But the bottom line is that pararescuemen and combat rescue officers, no matter what you call us, rescue is always going to be there. It is never going away. It is the sole capability on every single special operations and normal force in the entire world. CSAR and PR is a min force. We are going nowhere. You can make me wear whatever color hat you want. You can make me call myself whatever it is that you want. In our heart, we're always going to perform that rescue. That being said, we haven't fundamentally changed the way that we select and assess for young pararescuemen and combat rescue officers in 20 years. INDOC has largely stayed the same. Mm-hmm. I would argue that the battle space that we operate and the things that we're asking those young pararescuemen and combat rescue officers to do is remarkably different. So people tend to get, especially when we started talking about INDOC, when people said they were taking INDOC away, I freaked out, just like you did. Yeah. I was like, hey, man, you can't, there's magic. Yeah, there's magic in that water. I don't know what it is, but that's how we figure out who we are, right? But when they started talking about how they're actually going to do it, induce high levels of stress, always under the watchful eye of fitness professionals, that's backed up by MIT and Watson and Google, and backed up by verifiable scientific data that shows us how to stress people to their limits safely to figure out just how far we can push them, there's goodness in that. If you couple that with bringing everybody into the fold and giving everybody these core skills, what if I told you that Air Force Special Operations, unlike everybody else, I can look at a number of career fields at this point, it's going to be probably about 4 separate career fields, and say, I know exactly what that man can do because I know what he went through. We're talking about bringing controllers back into what the new ANS looks like. There's goodness in that. John Chapman just got awarded the Medal of Honor. It may be a correlation, it may be causation, but that man went through INDOC, and if you look at the video, you see him closing and killing with the enemy because, man, sometimes you just got to go get it. And I think there's a lot of goodness if people can just take away those personal feelings and really look at what's important. What's important is the career field. What's important is the larger enterprise, United States of America, Air Force Special Operations as a whole. And I think if you can put your mind in that space of doing things smarter, producing bigger, stronger, faster, more lethal, more even special operators throughout their career, so that when guys get to 38, 40, 45, those guys are running hard with those young guys. It starts at NDOC, it starts at ANS, and it has to. And it has to follow a logical progression throughout their career. So, of course, there's going to be people that are resistant to it. For you and I, the water was wetter, the rocks were heavier, we were the last hard class, I'm sure of it. But we're seeing on my end, I'm seeing bigger, stronger, faster, smarter dudes, smarter dudettes that are inside of it. Like, I mean, you know, the first thing you want to say is like, you know what? I never had any of that. You guys aren't as hard. Well, if you go back to Tom Newman or a Silver Star winner from Vietnam, he'd tell you that you're not as hard because you have a GPS. Is that fair? I don't think so. It's a different environment. So it's not fair for me to say that now. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the changes. I like what BA Prep is doing, and I know that's contentious. I like what the ANS is looking like. We've got the right people making that curriculum, by the way. Like, the right people are in the right places. Just extend the trust and grace to those dudes. Like, we've got some hitters that are making that course. It's not people that have never seen combat. You got the people writing the curriculum for the new ANS. I think they've got 30 combat deployments in 70 years or something between them. We're going to be okay.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing that the best change I see coming is the character-based and merit-based. They're talking about peer evals. They're talking about just adding in a lot of stuff that's kind of, you know, obviously you can train to a certain extent, but really it's your character, how you've been brought up. Like, are you going to actually fold on the pressure? Are you going to be able to be a team player? Are you going to be able to, like, stay awake and not be that guy who's always late, not be that guy who's always has his gear messed up, gets everyone dropped? Because I'm sure that we can look back on our NDOC teams and, you know, our PJUs and everything going through the pipeline, and we're like, dude, all right, who's got this guy watch? Like, insert name, we have this watch.
Yeah.
So,
on our NDOC team,
that
guy's name was Love.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they always have just a person there that we're just like, man, this guy just doesn't have it together. Like, if we deploy in a year, that's not going to be enough time for this guy to actually get his stuff together. And we're just going to be babysitting him whenever we get downrange, and nobody wants that. Especially if you're in an operation that you're talking about, like if you're running and gunning with special forces, you're running and gunning with SEALs or whatever, then you're going to be that sole dude that, hey, this guy has, you know, a gunshot wound through and through, and he needs a dart, chest tube, chest seal, the whole gambit, because the helicopter's not going to be coming for another however many hours. So
yeah, and I mean, let's talk about real talk, man. Like, you and I both know there's a PJ downrange right now that had an RPG explode within about 10 feet of him. Two things about that guy. Number one, he left on the same infill platform he came in on. He didn't get in on a Casevac. He didn't get in on a medevac. That dude walked out under his own power because he's fucking hard. Use the language. But number two, he did so because that's our culture and that's who we are. That's never going away. Whatever ANS looks like, whatever the selection process looks like, we are going to be able to look at a person holistically. What if I could tell you that I could look at a person, and let's say you have to do 70 push-ups, and this guy does this girl does 69 push-ups. And you're like, in our eyes, we're like, nope, that's a fail. But what if I told you that's the right person? That's the right dude. They're going to kill it on target. They're going to be that person that takes us into the next generation. That's the next chief. And we can now let them in. Or we can look at a guy that passes and we can go, no, he's low character. His team hates him. He's performing terribly in the psychological realm. He's going to be poisoned to a team room. I got it. They're physically capable. That's not what we're looking for anymore. We have to look at that whole operator concept.
Yeah, and as an instructor, I've seen that time and time again. You know, that one guy that has, 2 minus the push-ups or sit-ups that they needed for the pass. And, you know, we do everything that we can to actually get that guy through washback after washback. But, you know, after a while, it's a course, and we can't just keep on spending money and time on that guy. But is a push-up going to actually make a difference in combat when you're, you know, carrying a litter or you're doing carrying whatever? That's not really going to make that big of a difference. So I think that's one of the things that they're working on too. I was hearing that they're not going to have as much of strict exit standard as Indoc was, but obviously that's further down the road. But so it's about picking the right guy. End of the day.
Yeah.
And I think we can all agree that we want to be next to the dudes that we can actually trust, guys that have high character, high morals and values, and are never going to quit whenever the shit gets rough. And you know.
And like I said, the most important thing for everybody to focus on, because everybody wants answers right away, right? Like, we want to know what it looks like now. We've got like 6 months of planning time before we even go into the infancy stage, and then we're going to go through a couple of validation phases. The most important thing to focus on is, number one, we have time to do this right. It was done deliberately. So for the first time, somebody didn't just throw an answer at it. And then number two, the right people, the most experienced people, are in the right positions to make that happen. So I may have a high level of buy-in, I think, because I'm kind of close to it, but I have a lot of faith in the guys, the names that are attached to writing that curriculum, and the way forward that we're doing, the deliberate professional manner in which we're doing it. Man, I got a lot of faith and a lot of trust in that process, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll keep all you guys up to date as stuff unfolds, as I find out stuff, as Aaron finds out whatever he finds out. We'll keep you guys up to date as much as we think you guys need to know. Then we'll put it out there. But don't get wrapped up in it. Right now, all I can say is just keep on training for Indoc grass standards. I talked to the commander, like I said, the chief. They just said it's just keep on training for Indoc. Maybe a little bit of extra rucking. And
it's still on, dude. Like, man, that ain't going nowhere. Like, the level of put out and the level of physicality that we're going to need to see, it's probably actually going to go up, because now we're going to have I'm going to be able to look, like, there's a lot of technology that we're leveraging, but I'm going to be able to look at a tablet, and although your face might say this is a 10, I'm going to be able to look at your physiological output and go, it's actually a 6, so we're going to go harder. It ain't getting any easier. So get up for it.
That's right. All right. So next thing, changes in the apprentice course specifically. I know you've been writing lesson plans and redoing a lot of stuff up there to make sure things make a little bit more logical sense, and obviously to save manning hours. So you just run down some of the things that guys can expect and what they're going to see going into the apprentice course after they graduate. Obviously putting the cart before the horse, but this is kind of, just applicable changes that you made while you were there. So
yeah, absolutely. So the base thing that happened is the career field came out and they changed the core for what we look like when we graduate a team member, because that's how we write our courses, right? The career field says, I need this skill set. Well, this time when they rewrote it, we got a 30% new line items. Things like close quarters combat with full teams, going full on blacked out sim force on force CQC, convoy operations, more intensive air operations, higher skill levels. So what happened is we had to rearrange and redo nearly the entire course in order to get the course flow to work right. Long story short, I increased the course by about 6 days. So we got it approved. So it went from 119 to 125 training days, about 270 hours more training, because we're working extended training days the entire time. What I will tell you is that this is the first full rewrite that's happened in about 10 years inside of the apprentice course. And it's going to completely change the face of what a core skills operator looks like as far as pararescue and combat rescue officer is concerned. We've taken best practices from all of the other special operations forces. I've got a 20-year sergeant major from special forces that works as a civilian on my staff, just crushing it with tactics. Everybody that works at the schoolhouse right now has at least 4 to 5 deployments. Some huge names, giants in the career field, have come back to be civilian instructors. It's the most experienced instructor staff we've ever had, and they all had input to make the apprentice course the best that it's absolutely ever been. Now, do I have a lot of buy-in, and am I biased because I've been working on it for a long time? Sure. But the good thing for me is that I did the right thing and got the subject matter experts to do the work so that I could just validate it and put my name on it and take the credit on this Instagram. You know what I'm saying? But the short story is we're going to roll forward. It's going to be at the same time. We're not making anybody wait for any longer time. We've made it more efficient, so guys are getting more jumps, more shooting. The weapons program is probably one of the best courses of fire I've ever seen inside of 15-ish training days. And the results we're getting are ridiculous. So you need a 70% to pass. The way that we've run our weapons block and the subject matter experts we brought in, they're actually scoring above 92% as an average. So we're producing some lethal shooters. And I got to be honest, like I'm excited about it. It's better training than we got. I'll tell you straight up. The instructors pour their heart and soul into that every single day. And we're bringing in subject matter experts from everywhere. We have, there's a company that we use during what we call our FEP, which used to be FTX, right? So it's the final evaluation phase. But there's actually a movie company that comes in and does all of our moulage. So you're getting Hollywood grade injuries for students to treat as their final evaluation. And I got to be honest with you, I was evaluating one, and because of the environment that we're in and the scenery that we're in, and then we've got explosions and stuff on, I had to take a second. I was like, chill out, dog. You're just evaluating. Like this isn't a real thing.
You started having flashbacks. You're like, holy crap, what's going on? Where's my gun?
I started to get my treatment card out. I was like, man, do I have to do some triage right now? What's happening? So, it's going to be exciting, and I can't wait to see. We're going to go into validation here after the first of the year, so the new course will hit after the first of the year. And we did it right as well. We went ahead and took a knee, and we're going to go into our instructional validation here and be ready to go for the first of the year. So
the end result is going to be a better operator, like all around. And I don't think that the pipeline is going to be shortened per se. Like there's still going to be some gaps. And also with the ANS, I forgot to mention, there's going to be another 4-week course probably that follows the ANS. So it's still going to end up being about the same time frame that you had.
It's exactly the same.
INDOC.
It's exactly the same time frame. Guess what? INDOC was 9 hard weeks. You know how long ANS is going to be? Probably 9 hard weeks before you get to go to your next school. So
that being said, don't think that the pipeline's shortening, that anything's getting any easier. But we're definitely getting more efficient and also getting everything in order, honestly. Like when we went through, it was just chaos. It was like, I actually looked at the old lesson plans because I was down there at INDOC and just rewriting stuff and looking at archive stuff. And it was just like 10 pages total. And like a lesson plan is hundreds of pages now of detailed information and a bunch of other nonsense. Some of it's nonsense, but a lot of it is,
Well, let me blow your mind too. So the Air Force Free Fall School is about to stand itself up. We're gradually getting the end goal here is to get our own pipeline. We've already got the Air Force Dive School. Air Force Free Fall School is next. It logically follows that we get an Air Force Static Line School, probably in concert with that Free Fall School, so that we can get guys through. Mm-hmm. And that's when you start talking about owning the pipeline. Imagine being able to go through with your whole team. Imagine going from ANS to dive to SEER to free fall to static line all at once, and you get to be with those guys your whole pipeline, and we can really make it about 18 months total because we'll own our own pipeline and we can project it out.
And I think one of the best things about that also is we went to the STS. We were at the STS squadron together. Remember the rivalry that was there? Obviously, there's still going to be a little bit of rivalry because that's just always going to be there. But if you're going to the teams and running and gunning with dudes that you went through the pipeline with, like all the way through, even if they're CCT, even if they're TAC-P or whatever they are, you're still going to trust them a lot more, and you're going to actually be able to depend on them. You're going to know your roles when they're in a situation. If you guys have some kind of, hopefully we come all together and we do some kind of FEP, FTX type of thing where we have the TAC-P, CCT, and I think probably that's where we would be headed in the future. Obviously, I'm not writing the lesson plans right now, but I can foresee something like that in the future as a final FTX for everybody that you went through the ANS with. So it'll be interesting to see as that stuff evolves. All right, so a lot of good stuff. Next thing is, so phase 2, I know you were down here recently working some of that stuff out. So guys that are going through phase 2, first of all, do you know any of the backside stuff about phase 2? Like if you're currently in the Air Force, you say, hey, I want to join pararescue. Mm-hmm. Where do they start?
Absolutely. It's an easy process. Just like any other retraining, your first stop's going to be at your MPS. Clear it with your chain of command. Go to your MPS and say, hey, I'd like to cross-train. I'd like to retrain into this career field. Make sure that you're in your window, and they can give you the best advice on that. So I'm not even going to spout off what I think it is. Then you're going to get ready to put in what you call your phase 1, which is a paper packet. It's all of your EPRs. It's a psychological evaluation. It's your retraining packet along with your retainability. And that phase 1 goes before the AETC functional manager, who at this point is Chief Chad Clark. So Chief Clark will look at it and he'll say, cool, we're good here. You're approved to go to phase 2. Phase 2 is the enlisted ANS. The enlisted A&S is a week long. It's about 8 days when all is said and done, but it is an intense physical, mental, psychological job interview. You're being evaluated every single second of every single day. Think of it like a mini NDOC, and that's specifically for cross trainees.
Cool. And how many guys do you see per team? I know you're doing it like twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall. How many dudes do you see normally? Because you've pretty much gone to every single one in the past like 2 years or something like that.
Yeah, I missed one. So I missed the first one, but I've been on every single other one. I know.
Forget it. Never mind. Man.
Forget it. But I'll be at the next one. So we're planning and we're working it now. But so anywhere between, I mean, we can take, I think our max class load is like 24 candidates at a time. We're seeing anywhere between, from start, anywhere between 13 really to 20. The last one we had was a little bit smaller. I think we started with 7 or 9 or something and worked our way down. But, hopefully we see big classes. The cross trainees aren't really that many. That's why we only run 2 a year. So yeah, usually between 10 and 15 is a pretty good guess to start.
If you can weight the qualities versus like leadership qualities versus physical abilities versus character, how would you say it's more heavily weighted when it comes to the enlisted A&S versus like NDOC or something like that?
Well, physicality is always going to be a part of it, and they're intertwined, so it's hard to disassociate the two. And what I mean is we're looking at enlisted A&S. The main goal is to find NCOs that are strong NCOs and strong leaders that are going to be able to take as many of those young airmen, those non-prior service, fresh off the street type of guys that are going to be able to lead them through NDOC. If you're struggling through physical events every day, you can't very well be a leader because you're going to be so stuck in your own head and in your own moment that you're not going to be able to have that leadership. So while physicality is extremely important, I'm really looking to see like who is the next leader of this career field. Because if you think about it, like if you look at me, I've really only been a PJ for 11 years. From the time that I was out of the pipeline, or 10 years out of the pipeline, and now here. And because I came in as an E5, I was expected to be in higher leadership positions way earlier in my career. We need people that are able to take that challenge on. Not that I'm saying I'm by any means the example of that, because I'm not. But what I'm saying is we need people that can be leaders right away. So obviously we hold combat leadership to a higher standard. Think of, as A&S or that non-prior service airman, we expect them to be kind of at grade school. We want them to be able to follow directions. We want them to be able to dress themselves. We want them to be able to fix their own problems to a certain point. But you start talking about, those NCOs, that's really high school and college level. We need them to be leading people through and helping people through. And I was the NCOIC of my NDOC team. I got to be honest with you, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done because I had 120 non-prior service airmen that were asking me questions from, I don't understand my LES. I don't think I want to be here. I'm having serious family problems. Like, I'm trying to go to sleep at night because I'm in NDOC too, and I have to answer these questions, but you have to as an NCO. I do it now. Like, there are things I wish I could kind of just be a team leader sometimes, but I can't. That's not my job. I got to be able to step up into that higher level.
Yeah, especially when it comes to NDOC, you're kind of the overarching shield. As an NCO, you should be the one that is the most vocal, not the crow, because it's your job as a team leader to be in charge of the team.
That's proud enlisted leadership, my friend. Combat leaders, there is nobody stronger in the Air Force than a pararescue NCO and senior NCO. That's just a fact.
Yeah, and you should be not letting all the guys go directly to the instructor. So that happens all the time. When I was an instructor, it was like, these guys are coming up, I was like, what the? Are you kidding me right now? Like, everyone freaking
where's your
why
NCO?
is this guy
Where's
coming out asking this stuff? What's the chain of command right now? Are you kidding me? You guys, so using your chain of command, looking all the way up, your shield.
Yeah, and we're looking for those traits inside of enlisted A&S. That's one of the biggest things we're looking for, is a guy that can step right into there. So obviously, if you're just smoked every day and you're just struggling to get through the events, of course you're not going to be able to have your wits about you and be that leader. So I'd say that they're intertwined. I'd say they're equally important, but we do put a high value at enlisted A&S looking for that next combat leader, that next rank up.
So anything else that you can say just to prepare specifically, anything different at all versus preparing for NDOC?
No, exactly the same. When you come there, you better be ready to get your game on. And it's part of the speech that I give. I saw a couple guys on here. What's up, fellas? that have been at ANSs before, but you're being evaluated every second of every day. It's the hardest job interview you're ever going to have. We're evaluating you at every single thing that you do. You better come and bring your A game, because the first time it looks like you're lost, you're late, you're light, you don't have the right equipment, you're not caring about your team, you're going to pay a penalty. We're going to figure it out right away. And you need to come there ready to throw your A game at it, because you're changing your career inside the Air Force for something that's extremely important. So you'd better prepare like it.
Yeah, and that goes, I always say this to guys, the first day you show up, there are always guys that like have bedhead, or they didn't shave the night before, or they just look like shit. They're like, this is your interview. This is your time. When I first meet you, this is first impression, and I'm going to be seeing you for the next X amount of weeks. So make a good first impression on everybody. Take that extra mile. Don't look like a shitbag. Anyways, so just make sure you do that. Yeah. So I want to keep on moving through these topics so that we can get to some of the questions. Yeah. Because I know you're on a time crunch and stuff. So next thing, real quick, what did you do to prepare for INDOC, and what do you think is different now, like with all the resources? Because you know that there's everything out there now. Like there's so many things that you can do and use. It'd probably take you years just to do all the programs and stuff out there. But what'd you do, and what do you recommend?
Man, so I was a open kimono moment. I failed the first time. I came in guaranteed pararescue. Failed out the first time, didn't make it. Wasn't emotionally mature enough to make it through. Cross-trained after a 3-year break, really. So I kind of knew what I was expecting. I had made it to week 8 before, so I kind of knew what I was expecting. I got to be honest, like the programs, your prep programs that are out there and stuff, I didn't have any of those resources. I had to work from 7 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock at night. So I had to basically show up at my day job as a phys tech in the Air Force at 7 in the morning. And I didn't have PT time built into my day. So I had to wake up at 3:45, 4 days a week in the morning in order to get to the gym, get my first workout in. I'd usually go for a run at lunch, or I'd go for a run in the afternoon. And I just focused on the events that I knew were going to be there and that were going to be a problem, right? I hate running. I'm a 205-pound dude. I'd rather fight. I'm not a long distance runner. You're never going to catch me running 10 miles for fun. So I had to focus on that and focus on my weakness. I was a water polo player, so I was pretty good in the water. And I had good water confidence. That was never an issue for me before the first time. So I was a little bit non-standard. I'd say with the resources that are out here today, man, gravitate towards the subject matter expert in the place that you're going. If I want to wear a shoe for weightlifting, I'm not going to ask the casual CrossFitter at the local CrossFit gym. I'm going to look at an Olympic weightlifter and say, I want to do Olympic weightlifts. What shoe does this guy wear? You're going to the subject matter expert for the best input. If you want to graduate PJ INDOC, you should go to a PJ that's graduated PJ INDOC, and you should ask for their opinion and see what they do. Tips, tricks, finding ways to supplement that program with whatever it is that you need for specificity, because nothing is secret. You can look up the grad standards right now. I can tell you exactly what it takes to graduate INDOC as it stands right now. And they're going to publish those standards when ANS comes online as well. It's not a secret. You know what you have to train for. We're going to swim. We're going to ruck. We're going to run. We're going to do cows. We're going to have water confidence. So you should train for those events specifically. And I'd say there's almost too much information out there, because a lot of people will, say, hey, this is perfect for everybody, and this is perfect for everything. If you're training for something specific, train for something specific, and that training is going to change. I don't train the same way that the students that are getting ready to graduate the pipeline do. They're a lot alike. We have a lot of the same focuses, but those aren't my goals. That's not what I need to do. They need to be able to do different things, so they train differently, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And like whatever phase you're in, if you're going on a deployment, you're gonna be in the mountains, that you're gonna be doing a lot of freaking stairs or actual mountains if you have them around you wherever you're at. So you train for that specific event. You're not training for swimming if you're gonna be in the mountains. So you want to INDOC, what it is.
And I'd like to share just a quote with you. I got an AAR from some of our students that went downrange. They deployed about 6 months after they got out of school, which is about right if you hit your MQT correctly. They wrote an AAR and they sent it back to the schoolhouse. They gave us some kudos and said that we did some good stuff. One of the things that they said specifically about physical training, and I quote, was, train your legs, train your lungs. No one cares how much you can bench press on target. And I thought that was really good, because it was one of the kudos that we got from the schoolhouse, because man, we cardio is king. strength is queen, mobility and durability are third, and everything else, all the show pony muscles, those all come after that. Train your legs, train your lungs, make sure that you can go hard on target. No one cares how much you can bench press because it's not that functional.
Yeah,
although it does make me look good in shirts.
That's right. That's all that matters. I mean, really, that's all anyone actually looks at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever you're actually on target, you're rucking around, you're doing most of that stuff, pretty much getting to the target. You're trying to walk miles and miles to get to the target. And then once you get to the target, it's going to be an hour, maybe max or something. So it's going to be a short duration. Anyways, we talked about that. Hit it enough. Just train for and target your workouts towards what you're going to be doing.
Yep.
Last thing, and then we'll go to your guys' questions. So currently, where do you derive motivation? I know you, like you said, you're hitting it hard. You are going up in the ranks quickly, and you're in charge of a lot of stuff for a relatively younger guy compared to, some of the other guys that have been in for over 15, 20 years or whatever. So where do you derive your motivation right now, and kind of what drives you and makes you Aaron Love?
Yeah, I am so corny, and I get so ultra patriotic on some of this stuff. So
that's why I asked you.
Yeah, I figured. We wake up, pararescuemen and combat rescue officers wake up with a solemn promise every day, and it's no matter what, even if it think it's going to kill me or my team, I am going to take an American back home to their family. Period. I don't care what is going on. If you call my team and you say we need help, nothing will stop me and my team to getting to you, completing that mission, and coming home, even if it means we die trying. I internalize that a lot. I think about it a lot when I'm hurting on workouts. I think about it a lot when I'm sick of being at my desk and I wish I was out there operating with the guys, and I wish I was doing other stuff. Man, that's not important. I just went on the recovery of, there was a Tucano crash that was here in southern New Mexico. Unfortunately, we lost a Navy Lieutenant Chris Short. It sucked, man. It was a hard recovery for me. I was a team leader for it, but you know what? At the end of the day, I was able to give his squadron, his family, and his country some closure by performing that. And yeah, it sucked, and it was not a pleasant day for me. But man, that's important. That's why my sorry, sore ass doesn't feel like going to jiu-jitsu some nights. I go to jiu-jitsu. I wake up and I go to work in the morning because those things are important, because the career field and the mission is important. That's my why. You might, and it's evolved. Sometimes, some days at Indoc, it was just about not quitting and just being there. But it evolves over time to where it hasn't changed in a long time for me. I graduated, and kind of after England and after a couple deployments, it really solidified for me. And I think it solidifies for everybody that why. But, what got me through Indoc was one foot in front of the other, caring about the team before myself and getting as many people through as I could. What got me through the pipeline was, holy cow, I'm about to be a PJ. That beret is pretty heavy, because some really good men have worn it and died before me. And if I'm going to wear it around, I better be pretty good. And now at this point, it's, do I care as much as I can about the men? Do I always complete the mission? And am I doing right by the beret and by the mission that others may live? So without getting too amped up or ripping my shirt off, I think that's probably it. But
no, I think that's pretty much everyone. Whenever you start out, it's mostly, I want to save lives. Then it evolves once you're an indoc. You're like, I want to be a part of the team. I want to help the team, and I want to actually do as much as I can to get as many guys to do it. And then it evolves into, once you get deployments under your belt, you're like, I want to bring all these freaking guys home. And then you get more serious about it. You're like, all right, this is exactly what I'm here for, and this is what I'm going to do. It's not just a game anymore. Like, you watch a couple caskets being loaded up with flags draped over them, and you're like, all right, we're going to do this. This is real life, and you do everything that you can to take all those steps every single day. Wake up in the morning and freaking study, work out. You got to be intelligent. You got to be freaking fast. And you got to be strong. So, thanks for sharing that.
Sure.
Just always good to hear people's different motivation, even if it is a little bit cheesy. It's real. Though. It's real though.
It does feel cheesy every once in a while.
It's real cheese.
It is.
So it's good. All right. So I haven't even looked at these questions at all yet. So if you want to go ahead and breeze through some of these, you can answer them. Just shout out their name and shout out the question, and then I'll bring up one if I see one here.
Yeah.
and we'll talk about it.
I mean, it's always like the same four or five questions. What happens when women get in? What are we going to do with this?
Yeah.
All that other stuff. Hey, like, man, I don't let anybody ruin my team room or my dynamic. We treat each other with respect. I don't care if you're black, Buddhist, bisexual, homosexual, transgender, female. I don't care. When you get in my team room, you meet the standard. You treat everyone with the respect that you think that you deserve, and then we go out and we do the mission. Outside of that, I don't care. So I cannot wait for anybody to come through the pipeline. We're already ready. We've been ready. We've been on the forefront as an Air Force, accepting minorities into our programs, accepting women into our programs, and that is no different with pararescue. And anybody that says differently is just have them holler at me, because we're ready for it. I can't wait until we get a female through assessment selection, we get a female through the pipeline. But we have high immutable standards. 91% of the males that try it currently don't make it through. Statistically, males are not supposed to make it. Females occupy about 20% of the male population inside the Air Force. So statistically speaking, it's infinitesimally smaller, the pool of people that we're going to pull from. Man, we're ready. We're good. This day, like day to day, what's your day like? Everybody's day is different. When am I going to deploy? What's deployment like? All that stuff is 25-meter targets. You're going to have a tribe of people that you connect with and that are going to watch your back at all times. The communities are great. It's great for families. I think that's all the high frequency questions, I guess.
Yeah, I think also about the families thing. I mean, it's obvious. It's a little bit difficult. You're going to be gone all the time. I tell the guys a lot. I want to be just upfront about it. If you guys have families, you're going to be gone a lot. That's pretty much your entire time as a PJ, unless you get stationed at Indoc, and you'll be home.
Yeah.
That's when I started having kids.
Yeah, I think I looked at my time when I was at England. I think I actually was able to look at how many days. So I spent just over 3 years there at PCS, just after my 3-year mark, and I spent 184 days on the island. So I spent the rest of that time off island or deployed. Something ridiculous in 2010 was a very busy year for me. I went to Norway to start the year, a deployment in the middle, and then caught a longer TDY, I think, to Jackalstone or something later that year. But 2010 for me, I think I was home something ridiculous, like 62 days out of that year. So I was gone 300 days out of that year. So, and then Vegas, we deployed like clockwork. I mean, we were every year, one troop, we gone every year. So.
So again, that code for the next 24 hours, I think it's going to last until midnight tomorrow night, is Burn the Boats 18. You guys can use that, 10% off of either workout, pass, or Indoc grad. And then also the other thing is the guys that are joining right now, if you're going to make it to the October Indoc class, that's still going. So you guys should be doing Indoc. It's not canceled anymore. So Indoc all the way through the year until it changes over in January, probably going to be the NS. Obviously, I can't say anything for certainty, but that's just what I've been told.
Yeah, Eric, what do you need to be CMR? Man, your team sergeants, your commanders own that program. It depends on what missions you have. It comes off what's called an METAL, Mission Essential Task List. Man, that's a 50-meter target. 292 line items at any given time in order to wake up at a moment's notice and go do the job.
Also for rucking, I wasn't super specific on that, but I would expect to be able to ruck around 10 miles, probably a 35-pound pack, and then also at least 4,000 meters before you show up. Don't show up having never done that before, so don't let it be your first time. 10 miles, 4,000 meters. I don't know what the standard is going to be exactly, but that's what I would train to. For
sure.
Also, Eric Kim, yes, I have a equipment list. Check out my website. There's an equipment list there. There's also a link. If you go to my bio here, there's a link to my Amazon equipment list you guys can check out.
Sean, how does the pipeline look for National Guard? So they have a completely separate hiring process. They send you to school as they're able to. You should talk to a National Guard or Reserve recruiter. They'll be able to explain it to you a little bit more.
Also, I talked to a National Guard guy. He's been in the National Guard for like 10 years. I'm going to be having him on soon, so because I don't know much about National Guard. It's kind of weird. The guys that are National Guard, they just kind of stick to themselves a little bit, and we don't see them very often unless we're doing like the high five turnover downrange because they're replacing us. But other than that, we really don't see those guys. So I'm going to have another guy on here soon.
Yeah, ANS. Yeah, so the enlisted ANS, yes, you can physically complete the entire ANS and not get selected. We don't have a quota out of enlisted ANS. We're there to pick the right NCO or cross trainee in order to come out of ANS. So we have had tons of people that have completed ANS, all the physical gates, but once again, that's not the most important thing we're looking for, and they do get non-selected at the end. As far as what's the most memorable moment of my career, there are a lot. Some are good, some are bad. I'd say I'd probably combine them into the fact that I've brought all of my teams home. I've never deployed and lost a guy deployed. I've come home with all of my teams. I'd like to keep that streak going. I understand it might not be a possibility. However, I'd say that's probably, when you say what's the most memorable, I'd probably phrase a little bit differently. That's the thing that I'm proudest of, is that we're able to go complete the mission and come home, and everybody that I left with came home with. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, there are always so many emotions. Like, what's the happiest time? What's the saddest time? What's the whatever, the time that you were the most nervous about something? You know, you can go on and on about different memories, but, you know, there are tons of memorable times that just couldn't go down the list. Do you know anything about prior service going to BA prep?
So they're still trying to figure it out. So prior service may or may not go to BA prep. It raises the question of, does prior service go to enlisted ANS as well? So those are two questions that need to be answered. They're not going to be answered by me. I weighed in on my opinion, and we'll kind of figure it out as it goes out. Commissioned officers do go to phase 2, as that question is kind of rolling by. They go through their own CRO selection. ANS is not only for NCOs, it's also for senior airmen and all cross trainees. You're not going to be able to cross train before you're a senior airman anyway, so you'll have to be a senior airman before you cross train. So mostly we see NCOs that come through ANS just because they've got the time in service. If they're a superstar that is allowed by their chain to cross train, they've probably made staff before that. So a lot of time we see mostly NCOs that go through, but it's not just for NCOs.
Yeah, I'll let you guys know as soon as we know, all right?
Now you tell me, guys.
And then, yeah, you guys probably know before us. Like, I was getting messages from dudes asking, like, what, is Induct going away? I was like, I didn't even hear this yet. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how'd you guys hear it? Apparently the recruiters, like, leaked it out, and they're telling some dudes. So I was like, all right, I got to freaking figure this out, I guess, because it's already out there. Might as well, like, clear up some of this stuff. Anyways, You guys are pretty good sleuths, so.
Yeah, we call it the Cone News Network here, CNN. Them words is fast on the streets, homie. Them words go out fast.
All right. Anything else to see? Good?
I'm good. Yeah, unless anybody has specific questions, throw them up now. I'll be happy to answer them. You guys can hit me on my Instagram account if that's how you want to get at me, or I'd be happy to answer anybody's questions, as long as you've done the research and you're not asking me something that you could Google, ask your recruiter, or use common sense to answer. Usually I just ignore those questions, because if you can Google it, if you can't fix your own problems, I'm not here to fix your problems.
So that means don't ask him whether or not you need 20/20 vision to be a PJ. That's definitely a recruiter question.
Definitely a recruiter question.
Because I get that question pretty much every day. So, all right. Well, I appreciate you coming on again. Again, the code before I get off, burn the boats, 18. That's plural with an S at the end. Burn the boats, 18. That'll be good for the next 24 hours. If you're watching this on YouTube, then it's not still on. But I encourage you to contact, at least follow Aaron on Instagram. He's putting out a lot of good stuff, a lot of good pics, videos, motivation, and everyday nonsense that you guys can follow and enjoy. Because I enjoy watching it every time that I click on your story, like, oh shit, what's Aaron going to say this time? So go ahead and follow him, check out his stuff, and I'll definitely have Master Sergeant Love on again, so that he can put out his thoughts, his ideas, motivate you guys, make sure you're as up to date as possible. And yeah, appreciate it, man.
Yeah, guys, thanks very much. Paul, you know my back squat's above 4, and them hot Cheetos are my kryptonite, son. You already know. Thanks, guys, for having me on. Go Burn the Boats 18. Check it out. If you guys want to start your journey today, it's a great place to do it. Brian, How to Be a PJ. So go check it out. Brian, thanks for having me, man. Anytime.
All right. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, bro.
Catch you later.
Later.
All right. I'm going to stay on, guys. All right. So it's really awesome to have Aaron on there. Like I said, we've known each other for a long time. So just being in these positions that we are in, being able to spread this knowledge, it's a privilege for us to be able to actually talk to you guys, for us to give you, as much information as up to date and share with you guys some of our stories and motivation. So thank you guys for sticking around. And if you guys check out my website, you guys have suggestions, things that you want to see, things that you're not sure of. I'm pretty sure most of you guys on here, I recognize most of your names. You've asked me some kind of question in the past, and I've answered every single question that has gone through. So I do my best. Might take a day or two, but I'm going to go through and I'm going to answer your questions. And, I want to help you guys out. It's the whole reason I'm here. Make sure you guys are helping each other out. If you guys are in the same area, go train with a buddy, motivate each other every single day. And if you guys have anything you guys need, just let me know. Here to help you guys. Again, Burn the Boats 18, and I'll catch you guys next time. Oh, last thing. Yes, I want to keep on doing those YouTube videos. Just been a little busy, but I'm going to do a lot this week. Watch the YouTube channel, and I'll make sure to put out some more water stuff, some more knots, and of course, push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, motivation, and mindset. So